Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Tuesday, June the 14th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by the one and only Josh Crash Davis. Crash, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Coach. We've got a lot to talk about today. It's a huge slate, and I know you've got a lot on the line, so I'm excited about that and this day and slate in general. So
Yeah, I'm fired up, man. It is a great card. 15 games on the one site, 14 on the other two. And the cool thing about it is, as of right now, and it's late morning or mid morning, the weather looks perfect. I don't
yeah,
see a single game we're going to have to, sweat out like yesterday, for
right.
example.
Yeah.
And that makes it a lot better.
Oh yeah, definitely. And there's still weather to consider because it's the heat. That's going to
Yeah.
affect the bats, and I think that's something we definitely want to pay attention to, where it's going to be warmer and that ball's going to be flying out of these parks. So
Yeah, you would think so. It's going to affect some of those games, but the bottom line is, we don't have to concern ourselves with any possible cancellation. So that
yeah,
is good.
that's always a good thing.
But what we're going to do today is we're going to, go over our main stuff. If you're listening every day, we appreciate you very much. We really do. And if you're new, what we try to do is give you just a little feel for the slate. We'll go over a pay up, a value, and a fade pitcher. We'll talk about BVP, HR calls, stacks, and then we also give a couple of prize picks plays. And we're also going to do a bonus today. We usually do it on Friday or Saturday, but we're going to throw a Fanduel GPP, two brains are better than one build in there together at the end of the podcast. So just, give everybody a little look at what we're thinking initially here. And then, as you alluded to earlier, I'm pretty fired up because I had qualified last month for a ticket in the big contest, the 3,300 contest on FanDuel today. So pretty stoked up about that, and been doing a lot of preparation, getting ready for this one. And it's nice to just check the box, though, that you don't have to stress the weather. You can just, really go after the guys. And on top of that, it's just a really great card. There's a lot of great potential pitchers. There's, a lot of hitting spots that I'd like to attack. So should be a really interesting podcast.
Definitely.
I would like to thank our presenting sponsor, and that is Prizepicks. If you haven't done it yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go to prizepicks.com, sign up with the promo code CoachTalk, all one word, no space, and they will match you dollar for dollar all the way up to $100 on that first deposit. And there are some really interesting Prize Picks plays today as well. If you want to join us, great time. I mean, middle of the week here, it's US Open week in golf. We have a tremendous Game 6 coming up in the NBA on Thursday. Hopefully a Game 7, we'll see. And then, with all of the baseball going on, just a prime time to join us. And then, of course, we have NASCAR and MMA action on the weekends. But if you want to join us, just go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up right there for as little as a 3-day pass for $10. You get all of our information in Discord. You get everything we have with a membership. We don't go sport by sport like some of our competition. You're in there. You're part of the family. You get everything that we've got. So, all right, let's dive in right away with pay up pitcher. What do you have, Crash?
Yeah, so for my pay up pitcher, I've got Nick Pivetta. He's 9,300 on FanDuel, 8,900 on DraftKings, going up against Oakland, who he just pitched against on June 4th. And in that game, he pitched 7 shutout innings. He struck out 7 for 52 fantasy points on FanDuel, 31.4 on DraftKings. He has a quality start in 6 of his last 7 starts. He's been a pretty high strikeout pitcher, and he's going up against an Oakland team that has the 6th highest strikeout rate. And in his last start against the Angels, who have the 3rd highest strikeout rate, he had 11 strikeouts. So there are other top pay-up options that I like that have favorable matchups as well. But for me, he has the best combination of his price and matchup from the pay-up options that I saw. So that's why I'm going to go with Nick Pivetta.
Very solid choice. I'm going to go back to the guy I've been riding, Tony Gonsolin. I mean, he's 7-0 with a 158 ERA, an 086 whip, 54 strikeouts, which is respectable. And he's just strung the most ridiculous amount of games together as far as, points. How about 40, 43, 43, 40, 43? Those are his last 5.
Very consistent.
And how many innings did he pitch in all those games? Exactly 6. So, I mean, the guy's just been a monster. Before that, it's not like he had any bad games either. He had a 36, a 33, a 37. So, I mean, he's just been the model of consistency and strikeouts 5, 5, 7, 7, 7, 5, 5, 5. I mean, I've never seen a guy with the most. I mean, it's like you're going to get 40 fantasy points, 6 innings, and probably 6 strikeouts right in that neighborhood and just mark it down. So, I mean, especially with being in a bigger contest and it, being something that you don't really have to worry about tons of dupes because there's only 268 people in it. It's like if you want the most consistent, solid guy today amongst all the pitchers, it's Gonsolin. And he hasn't done me wrong yet. No, he's not the guy that's going to, pitch a complete game with 14 strikeouts, but those guys have a tendency to get knocked around too. So the other aspect of things is, he's facing a team that does have some dangerous hitters in it, but they haven't seen him much in the Angels. And there are a lot of strikeouts in that lineup as well. They're second in baseball in strikeouts with 583. So, that may bring his strikeout level up a little bit. Yeah. And like I say, most of these guys have never seen him. So, he's Shohei's 0 for 3 against him. Trout's never faced him. Rendon's never faced him. So, I mean, I like the aspect of what he can bring to the table, the consistency he brings. And, again, I don't think he's going to be the highest owned by any stretch of the buy-up guys because there's so many to choose from, and people have a tendency to want to go after the guy that's going to get double-digit strikeouts. So, the combination of all those things, including a little bit of leverage, really has me like Gonsolin here.
Okay, I like it. My value pitcher is going to be. I was pretty surprised I landed here, but after I dug deeper, I felt like it's a pretty good play. It's going to be Jose Urquidy. He's 7,200 on FanDuel, 6,400 on DraftKings. He had his best start of the year this year on May 22nd against Texas. He pitched 6 2/3 innings, struck out 10, only allowed 1 run for 57 fantasy points on FanDuel and 32.8 on DraftKings. Now, here's why I went with him. Okay. In his last 5 starts, going back to 2019, July 2019, he scored 57, 43, 34, 49, and 55 against Texas.
Wow.
32, 25, 17, 30, and 34 on DraftKings. So I'm willing to take a shot on a guy that has a 5-game sample size like that at his price. If he gets somewhere around there, he could be one of the top scorers on the slate at a low ownership, I think. So that's why I'm going to land with Urquidy as my value play.
Yeah, it's a cool pick, and there's no doubt he's going to get lost in the shuffle of all these good pitchers.
Yeah.
There are some of these small slates when you have 5-6 games and there's not good pitching, he would be chalk, and you're probably going to get him at single digits. So, I think it makes sense, and it's it helps you on the leverage side for sure.
Yeah.
But my value pitcher is going to be your top pitcher, and that's Nick Pivetta. He's a little bit cheaper than Gonsolin. Gonsolin, by the way, was 9,500 on both DraftKings and FanDuel and 49 on Yahoo, where Pivetta comes in at what I think is a really cheap 8,900 on DraftKings, 93, and then 47 on Yahoo. But Pivetta's just been, he's another guy that's been consistent. How about these numbers? 36, 50. Last game was his worst at 36, but he did strike out 11. But then before that too, 52, 40, 34, 58, 40, 46. So talk about a guy that's, pitching well. He had won 5 consecutive starts. You may have mentioned, before this last one.
Yeah.
So I like his consistency. Like you mentioned, all those other statistics and, the success rate and who he's pitching against will allow him, I think, to get to double-digit strikeouts. So, and by the way, he struck out 11 against the Angels, which also makes me feel good, about my Gonsolin pick. So,
yeah,
those two combined, really not an SP2, if you would, but I'm also not paying all the way up, to the top of the chart for Cole or Fried or Gilbert or, some of those guys. So I think that having 2 solid pitchers is a great play when you can do it. And to get 2 of them that are sub 10K, and the only time I get into a little bit of trouble, if I try to buy up to the top 2 and they're 10-8 and 10-5 or something, then you really have to roll the dice with some minimum hitters. But, with these mid-9 prices and all the way down, to 89 for Pivetta, you can still get the hitters that you want and put them in spots. So I think that's going to be my 1-2 punch for pitching.
Yeah. My fade pitcher is going to be Max Fried. You mentioned him briefly there. He's 10-5 on Fanduel. He's the most expensive pitcher on Fanduel. He's 10-1 on DraftKings, second most expensive over there. As I said yesterday, the Nationals have been a lot better against lefties. They, put Aaron Ashby and Eric Lauer in a lot of trouble. And this last weekend, and Fried faced them earlier this year. He pitched 5 1/3 innings, allowed 2 runs on 7 hits, struck out only 4, and scored 22 fantasy points on FanDuel, 11.8 on DraftKings, which is nowhere near what we need from him at that price. So I think it's going to be a tough matchup for him. There's plenty of other options that are worth paying up for without having to pay all the way up to him. And I just think that there's a lot of other options that I prefer over him.
I agree with you 100%. He's also my fade pitcher, and really not because I think he's going to get bombed. Like sometimes we'll put a guy in there because we think he's just going to get ripped. I don't think he'll get ripped, but all the things you said were, spot on. I mean, definitely Washington, who hits lefties better. Plus, Fried's ceiling has been a lot lower this year.
Right.
If you look at his fantasy points, 26, 24, 20, 15, 14, 11, those aren't numbers you need for a guy you're paying north of 10K for. So just, ceiling possibilities there alone for that price. I think he's just overpriced. I think if he was like, 92, 93, then you could talk about it. But when you start talking 10-1 and those numbers, 10-5 on FanDuel, I just think, he's more expensive than Garrett Cole, which is, I thought.
Insane.
So, if you're a Fried guy and you think he's going to tear it up, I think that price is going to keep his ownership numbers down.
Yeah. Washington's the second lowest strikeout rate. So, that's another reason why I wouldn't go to him. So,
no interest there at all.
Too much working against him for me.
100% for me as well. All right. Excellent. How about BVP?
BVP, I'm actually going to go with G-Man Choi. He's 3,100 on FanDuel, 3,700 on DraftKings. He's 400 with 10 hits and 25 at-bats against Garrett Cole. He has 3 singles, 3 doubles, and 4 home runs. It's a good leverage play. And, I think Cole will probably be one of the higher-owned pitchers on this slate. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be on Choi. So if he hits a home run, we're going to be in some really good shape.
Yeah, he's had a good run there, and he's hit the ball well lately too. He's playing some good baseball, and we know Cole has been, giving up a decent amount of homers. Didn't he give up 4 in his last game?
Yeah, he gave up 5.
He did?
That was the game that I recommended to fade him in tournaments.
Wow.
He wasn't my fade of the day, but I just mentioned in passing, if you're playing the GPP large, entry tournament, he was the guy that I would fade, and he ended up giving up 5 home runs to Minnesota.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if people are going to get shook up by that and he's not the super high owned guy that we think he will be.
I
But
feel like he's always high owned, though.
he's
No
always
matter.
high owned. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no doubt. I'm going to go with Rhys Hoskins, and he's going against Trevor Rogers. I just think Rogers has looked a little shaky this year. He's not the same pitcher. His velocity, there's just a lot of things that aren't the same with him. Coming back from injury, all kinds of different things I think are a little bit shaky. Hoskins is hit or miss, I know, but he's batting .455 against them, and he's hit a home run. He's walked 5 times, and he's only seen him 11 times. Again, we know small sample size, but it is what it is. When you're 5 for 11 against somebody with 3 extra base hits, 2 of them are homers, and you've walked 5 times. I mean, that's the recipe for a good BVP, and he's going to bat at the top of that order. So I think Hoskins is a nice one-off play, at least, if not part of a mini stack for Philly.
Yeah, I like that. I do.
Home run call, sir. What do you have? Who's going deep tonight?
Didn't work out for me yesterday with Yordan Alvarez, but I'm going to go back to Houston. I'm going to go to Kyle Tucker. He's 600 in a small sample size, 3 out of 5 with a home run against Dane Dunning. I like the matchup. It's going to be warm, real warm, and I think that he's going to hit a home run.
I like it. I'm going to go to Freddie Freeman. I think he's due for a home run. He has not shown the power they thought he'd show so far in LA.
Yeah.
But, he's had great numbers against Noah Syndergaard, .435 batting average, 10 for 23 with 5 extra base hits. He has taken him deep. He's also walked a couple of times. And, Syndergaard's just not the same guy. I mean, he's not throwing with the velocity. The movement's not there. And, the fact that, he's got a lefty here with some pop, I think it's just a great spot for Freeman to, 1 or 2 home runs today. Maybe a double dong for Freeman.
Hey, I like it. That would definitely help your cause in that tournament.
Yeah, he'll probably be in that main lineup. There's no doubt about it. He's not cheap, but,
right.
Sometimes you get what you pay for. There's no doubt about it.
So I just looked this up because you were talking about Syndergaard. Do you know what the most strikeouts he has in a game this year is?
Like 3.
Well, it's a little more than that, but still, it's 7. And he's a guy that used to get double-digit strikeouts pretty regularly when he was right. So
all the time. Yeah. I mean, he was unhittable at times.
Yeah.
But he's just not the same guy. That was a while ago. How about these last starts though? 3 the last game, 0, 5, 1, 7, like you said, 3. I mean, this is Noah Syndergaard, Thor, right? I mean, he was blowing the past everybody. There were games he'd have 8 strikeouts after 3 innings. So obviously not the same arm, not the same pitcher. He pitched a good game last out against Boston. I'll give him that. But man, that Dodgers lineup's a murder's row.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, man. I am with you. A couple things real quickly. If you're watching right now on YouTube, take a second here before we get into our prize picks and stacks and get that 2 Brains lineup together. Hit the thumbs up. That means a lot to us. Also, subscribe. Just click the subscribe button so you're part of what we're doing. And hit the little alert in the upper corner. If you hit that little alarm, every time one of our podcast posts for baseball, golf, basketball, you will be alerted. And you'll be able to check that out, watch the premiere, converse with us there and some of the other Coach Talk members. We'd love to have you join us. Go to dfscoachtalk.com. And also, if you're on Twitter, we're really getting close to another milestone of followers. So definitely follow us there. We're at DFS Coach Talk. Crash is at JP Davis 1982, and I am at Joe Sarvati. All right, how about stacks? What are you looking at, Crash?
I like the Giants stack against Chris Bubik. Lefties are hitting 526 against him.
Jeez.
So Jock Peterson, Yastrzemski, Luis Gonzalez, Tommy LaStella, and possibly Brandon Belt could be activated. So they got a lot of lefties that I think can give him a lot of trouble if they're hitting 526 against him. So
man, that is a that might be the stat of the day, that lefties are killing him that bad.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked when I saw that because he's a lefty himself. So that's pretty crazy. And then I like Boston. We mentioned Boston against Jared Koenig. He allowed 4 runs on 5 hits in 4 innings in his debut against Atlanta last week. And I think that Boston will take advantage of him and his inexperience. And then they're going to be chalky, but I also like Cleveland in Coors against Senzatella. So,
yeah, very nice. I've been picking on Corey Kluber all year because I just don't think he's the same. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. He's another guy coming back from injury that is not the same pitcher that he was. So, it's hard not to stack the Yankees with that lineup. Again, there's a lot of costs there. They're not cheap.
yeah.
But, you can go up and down that lineup. When you have Joey Gallo batting 9th for crying out loud, there's a lot of different options you have, without question. So not sure I'll be able to afford the full-blown Yankee stack. You really have to commit to, a cheaper SP2 by far if you want to make that work.
Yeah.
But definitely have to have at least a couple of those Yankees in there. They're just too explosive. And when they score 10, 12, 14 runs like they did the other day, it's just you have to have some of that ownership,
Yeah, it's interesting because, I said that the other day in our Discord, you got to stack the Yankees every slate, basically. But it's pretty interesting. I looked at some of their numbers. They haven't hit Kluber that greatly. So,
no, but it's not the same Corey Kluber, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what Kluber was Cy Young. He was, he's coming off major surgery. He's lost velocity and movement. He's still a good pitcher. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that's why, any of those old stats with Kluber against teams, I have more of a tendency to disregard it because it really is a different guy when you have a different arm, you know?
Yeah. And we were just talking about that with Syndergaard too. So yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, if we could flash back to a couple of years ago, I'll take Kluber and Syndergaard right then, well, but like it changes.
Yeah. Hopefully people will look at that then and make that mistake or apparent mistake that, he's been tough against the Yankees and then we can get him at lower ownership. I mean, that would be nice because.
Well, this lets me get up on my soapbox for like 15 seconds. I promise it won't take long, but if you just dump a bunch of stats into an optimizer and play those numbers and stats and players from those, you're missing the boat, in my opinion. If you want to max entry 150 and all that and not tweak around with some of those, that's fine. But if, like most players, you can't do that. So I think most of our audience understands what we present here at Coach Talk. And part of that is, yes, we use all of those factors, ownership and, the optimizers and everything you get to, but you have to look beyond those. I mean, if you just take like Kluber as a perfect example at face value in those numbers and matchups, you're going to get a bit of a downturn for some of the Yankees hitters where, knowing what's going on, seeing the pitcher pitch, knowing the scenario. I mean, it's the type of situation where you have to tweak that and only take it what it's worth. And that's what we do here all the time at Coach Talk. And is Kluber still capable of pitching a shutout? Sure. But the chances of him doing that now against a team like the Yankees, as opposed to what his statistics will say he's done, definitely not the same. So
yeah, I agree.
Just something to throw in there. And we do that with everything on all our sports here at Coach Talk. And that's what makes us a little bit different. And I think a little bit more palatable to those people playing 2-3 lineups and just medium dollars to lower dollars.
Yeah, definitely.
Stack wise, other stack, I agree with you on Boston. I think, this lefty Koenig young man, it's tough when you have to face the Martinez Bogart stories. And even though Arroyos and Vasquez's and Dahlbecks, it's a lot of nasty righties that'll bang it off the green monster over there. So
Devers hits lefties well too. So
yes, he does. Devers hits. I don't think if you threw with both hands, Devers could probably hit it. But yeah, it's definitely not a great matchup for him. And I think Boston's a good stack as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive over to prize picks. I'm going to refresh. I like to do that during the pod because they're always adding and shifting numbers and guys and everything else. All right, here's all your WNBA prize picks plays popped up. So you can play those.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to say anything.
All right, I'm going to give you my first selection. Corey Kluber under 4.5 strikeouts. And people are going to say, well, wait, coach. Yeah, the Yankees are tough, but they strike out a lot. Let's see how that goes and how long Kluber lasts. I think, he's definitely not the strikeout pitcher he was. I think he gets 2 or 3 here and gets to the showers.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go with, there it is, Nick Pivetta, over 36.5 fantasy score. He had 52 on June 4th. That was in Oakland. I think at home he'll do just as well, if not better. So I like the over at 36.5. That seems a little bit low to me.
I think it is. And I think even, one better, I like Tony Gosselin over 33.5. I mean, I read all those numbers to you with 30s and 40s, game after game after game, with a minimum of 6 innings. He has not gone less than 6 in months. So, 6-7 innings, 35-40, in that range for Gonsolin. I feel very comfortable. I mean, yes, the Angels have Rendon and a few guys back, but they still have an awful lot of strikeouts in that lineup.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Then the other one I'm going to go with is going to be my value pitcher. It's Jose Urquidy over 25.5 fantasy score.
Okay.
Like I said, he's averaged 47.6 in his last 5 starts against Texas. So that should be pretty doable for him.
Yeah. What was his number again? What did you say it was?
25.5.
Yeah, that seems very fair. I like that number.
I know Texas has improved their lineup some, but I also looked at how he's done against some of the guys that they've added. And besides Marcus Semien, no one's really done that well against him. So,
yeah, they've improved, but a lot of it Seager and Semien are hitting a little bit more. But like you say, there's still a lot of outs in that lineup as well. I'm looking to see they moved my guy, and I want to double check here. To see. There he is. Okay, Freddie Freeman over 7.5 fantasy score. I think super fair. I was expecting 8 or 8.5. So I know he hasn't been power Freeman, but regardless, he is hitting and seeing the ball, and it's against a guy that he smoked in the past. So Freeman over 7.5 fantasy score.
So they do have him on here. So I'm going to take G-Man Choi, wasn't on there last night, over 0.5 total bases. All he needs is a hit. So,
yeah, I like those 0.5 calls. Those are a lot of fun.
Right.
All right, sir. 2 brains are better than 1, and it is a stretch that our 2 brains even equal 1, but we're going to try to get what we can out of it, and we are going to try to build a big winning lineup here. And I'll start us off with my man, Tony Gonsolin, 9,500 starting pitcher. That is the 7th highest price pitcher on FanDuel. So I feel like that's very fair considering his consistent pitching.
Yeah. I'm going to take my BVP play at first base. I'm going to go with Ji-Man Choi.
Okay. I am what I'm going to do then, little backwards here, but it's okay. I'm going to take our utility guy now, and I'm going to take my
Freeman.
man. Let's see where he is price wise.
Wow, 3,500. Dang.
What's that?
Freeman.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I just it's just because he hasn't been hitting home runs, but he's so far down the chart, I couldn't find him. There he is. He's below a lot of guys, and so I think that's disrespectful. I think that's cheap, and I'm really digging Mr. Freddie tonight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the MVP last year.
I think that could be the case.
Yeah.
So we're off to a good start here.
Yeah. Also going to go with another little bit of an off the board play here. Donaldson suspended?
For what?
What?
Again?
Why does it say
Because he was out for that whole Jackie Robinson thing.
Donaldson's appeal of his 1-game suspension was denied on Monday, so he will serve the ban Tuesday against Tampa Bay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He had really good numbers against Kluber. So
that stinks.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Yandy Diaz on the opposite side.
Yandy Diaz. Okay. How much is it?
2,600.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
All right. There he is at third base. Want to try to get some affordable guys in here as well. Let's see here. Yeah, there's so many good buy-up options today. It's hard to not want to play some of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's so cheap, I'm gonna take Teoscar Hernandez for $2,500.
Okay.
I think he's underpriced. More of a price play.
Yeah, he was solid yesterday, that's for sure.
Yeah.
In the outfield, right?
In the outfield, yeah.
Yeah.
2,500 bananas.
That's really cheap for him.
For a cleanup hitter on it,
Yeah.
That was the stack yesterday for sure. There's so many different options today. It's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
Looks like Gleyber Torres is out with an illness. And the Yankees lineup's going to be different today.
Yeah, probably get Andahar in there.
Yeah.
A couple of other guys.
I'm going to go with a little bit of a little Dodgers mini stack here. I'm going to go with Max Muncy at 2,700 at second base.
That's a fair price, too. I love being able to play Max at second.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot more doable. Our average is back up to 3,700 left for 3 guys. That's pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, that's real
that
nice.
Gives us some good punch here. All right, how about I think I'm going to go with Ronald Acuna Jr. The 5 tools, I think he's back playing a high level, can get us some steals.
I never even heard of the guy that's pitching. Jackson Tetrialt?
Yeah, it's hard not to want to attack that guy a little bit too.
Yeah, I never heard of him.
Yeah. So it's a little pricey, but I think he's worth it. And, like I say, even if he just walks and steals a couple bases, whatever, you feel good about it.
Yeah.
It's not like you need 100% home run,
Right.
but we'll take it.
Exactly. Jackson Tetra. Is this his major league debut? I just never heard of that guy.
Let me dig into it a little bit since we're on here and we're taking a little more time today anyway. I'll do a little bit of work on him here. All right, so let's see what we've got on Mr. Tetrault. Jackson Tetrault, 26 years old. He's recalled from AAA to start Tuesday's game against the Braves. This is his major league debut. He pitched 12 games at AAA for the Red Wings, 4.19 ERA with a 129 WHIP, 52 strikeouts, but 24 walks in 58 innings. So, he's been in the minors since 2017 and had some decent statistics. He struck out a decent guy, but he does walk some guys for sure. So interesting.
It is interesting.
I wouldn't say he's one of the top guys, in the minors. So it's not like, hey, this is a guy that is coming up super stud. So I think we can attack him.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to because I think we've got some value here. Let me see. Adam Duvall's 2,500. He's been pretty hot lately. I like that play.
He bats low, though.
Yeah, he does. But it is a GPP, and I think he'll be lower owned. So
okay.
That leaves you 4,200, Coach.
Huh? I was going to take Ozuna in that spot, by the way.
Oh, well, I'll trust
that. I'm Mr. Ozuna. What's that?
Whisperer. So
I am. And he's only 2,700. Because they moved him down to like 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
That would give you $4,000 for a shortstop if you're cool with Ozuna.
Yeah, that's cool with me. And I'm going to take Trevor Story.
Or what about Trey Turner? You got both. Either one. You can afford both.
I'm going to go with my gut and take
Story. Okay. I like them both. But for those listening, you can play 2 lineups, flip one either way.
Yeah.
You can afford Story or Turner, which is nice.
Oh, yeah.
So our 2 brains are better than 1 GPP for FanDuel today is Tony Gonsolin, G-Man Choi, Max Muncy, Yandy Diaz, Trevor Story, Teoscar Hernandez, Ronald Acuna Jr., Marcell Ozuna, and Freddie Freeman. So we threw the old Atlanta guy in with the current Atlanta guy. So that's an interesting approach. I like it. So should I lock that in for my big $33 million entry?
I don't know.
It is.
It looks like a pretty solid lineup to me.
I like it, man. I really do. I think it's very good. All right. Outstanding, sir. Any final words? We'll let our folks go here and get on with a intense day of baseball.
No, I think that, we've covered this slate well. There's a lot of games, a lot to get into, but hopefully we've done a good job here breaking everything down and can give some people some winning lineups tonight.
Absolutely. And later today, keep an eye out for our U.S. Open PGA podcast. I'll be doing that this afternoon. That's going to be a really exciting tournament, especially with all this weird, the live golf stuff going on and just such a chatter in golf right now. It's crazy. Yeah. And then tomorrow, not only will I'll have the baseball pod solo for Crash's day to chill in baseball, but then Deb and Crash and I will be back for an NBA pod for Game 6. So exciting stuff, great things happening. I appreciate our presenting sponsor, Prizepicks, prizepicks.com. Use that promo code CoachTalk, and they'll match $1 for $1 up to $100. And if you want to join us, it's dfscoachtalk.com. Also, quick thumbs up on the way out here. Hit that subscribe and alert button so you can catch our podcast every day. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. We really do appreciate each and every one of you and the time that you spend with us each day. Hopefully, this brings some big winners, and hopefully I'm on here with the extra 200K in my pocket tomorrow. That's the goal. And I'll definitely be a little fired up for that one. So we'll see how it rolls.
Yep, that's going to be amazing.
Have a great day, Crash. Everybody out there, appreciate you. And we'll see you again tomorrow when we look to crush it in MLB, DFS, and Prize Picks.